Hi there, Brett here. Welcome back to Tabletop Sagas. And today I got a little bit of a hobby update video for you, as I've had multiple projects that I've been recording for, putting pieces together, and I've realised that they're just starting to pile up. So instead of doing 4 different videos discussing several different subjects, I figured, you know what, let's just roll them all into one. Let's get everything nice and caught up for the channel, because I do have some really exciting things that are coming up. So first up, we've got my Saxons. As I mentioned in my last video, I was really enjoying how the Thanes painted up, and I wanted to get another unit started pretty much straight away. So I decided to dive right in and paint up some curls, or churls, or however you say it. I really should have probably went and had a look, but kind of didn't, and I'm just going to keep pronouncing them incorrectly, I suspect. Yeah, so these are your more general peasant militia types that support the Thanes in combat, that really like the miniatures. As I've mentioned, this is from the Warlord starter. If you want to see how that all project started, where these came from, then do be sure to check out my last video. I'll see if I can link it around here somewhere. So these I painted very much in a similar way, so using bright but reasonably desaturated colours, things that, you know, dyes they might reasonably have at the time, and then also as well using those lovely shield transfers. I have bought some microsol and microset to hopefully get these to lie a little bit better. There are some, this one here, I don't know how well you can see it. There's a little bit of a crease still on some of them, but then you've got other ones like this, where it has definitely conformed to the slight curve a lot better than with my original attempts with the Thanes. So I'm really happy with how these came out. I do still have the actual unit base itself, still to put a load of tufts and things like that on there, but the models themselves are done, so I'm calling them good and done for the minute. And for this project, really there's not a lot else to show. I think, like I said before, that I'm going to have this as a bit of a background subject, because there is going to be just more Thanes, more curls, a couple of bits of cavalry, some characters. I might show some painting videos for the characters, but I don't think that I need to be showing you a video every single time for these. I'd like to get a couple of units built up and then come back and update you, rather than doing a one for every single individual unit. And on the note of doing something for every single individual unit, here's a project that has not been on the channel in a very long time. These are my 10mm samurai. I decided to, it was actually over Christmas now, so it was a good while ago, paint these up in the space of a couple of days off that I had, just for a bit of fun to see how they are. They are actually Pendraken metals as well, so I wanted to test them out and just get a bit of a feel for the project. So I decided to paint these up. These are in the colours of one of Nobunaga Oda, or Oda Nobunaga, depending on your preferences, banner, so under his colours, and they are a block of Ashigaru pikemen. So for these, I continued with my plan of not having loaned or, you know, armies armor color, instead choosing to have these as representing more of a hodgepodge militia that have been put together, so they have got a mix of armor. That is contradicted slightly, I find, with these Pendraken miniatures, as there is only one sculpt, which does definitely limit the amount of variety that you can get into a unit. For Hail Caesar / Pike and Shot, whatever rules I decide to eventually use these for, if I do ever get to that point, I have decided to do these in 3 ranks on 2 bases deep, rather than just doing 2 ranks on 1 base deep. I think that having that front rank with the pikes slightly 45-degree angle, so slightly askew, I do think it looks really nice. And so having that 3 ranks, and it just, that little bit at the front just gives a little bit of protection to those pikes, make sure that they're not going to be poking off the edge of the base and potentially causing some problems there. If Final thing for these is I have tried to refine my basing technique for these as well. So I do use my Geek Gaming Scenics base ready range, as I always have for these small scale projects. I do continue to really like that, and I'm really happy with how that's coming out. But I have also grabbed some of the Gamer's Grass small 2mm tufts, just to add a couple of these on and see how they go for adding a little bit of extra variety onto the bases. I am pretty happy with how they look, although I did put them on before sealing in the Geek Gaming Scenics. I don't think I'll be doing that in the future, as if I can get this right, you may be able to see. It does appear that when you're putting the isopropyl alcohol and then the sealant on there, it actually is pulling up some of these tufts. So I think the better option would be to get my basic ground cover sealed and everything dry first, and then super glue these tufts over the top to make sure that they aren't going anywhere. One period, however, that I am apparently trying to recreate all of is 13th century Asia. And here is some additional units for my song that I have been working on. First of all, we've got the classic thing that I'm amazed it's taken me so long to actually get, is some fire lancers, the arguably first ever form of gunpowder weaponry. Basically just a spear with a firework strapped to the end of it, but regardless, a really iconic item for the song from this period, and something that I definitely wanted to show off, and I finally have represented in my army. Again, these are from 10 Kingdom Miniatures. Again, really happy with how these guys are going, and I think that I'm going to be continuing to support them in the near future. I think they are wrapping up and looking at expanding further into other places and areas of the world and all that, and I'm really happy and really glad to see where he's going to go. So these fire lancers, I did try to keep them in the red color scheme that I've been using for my song, although I did want to vary it a little bit, so I haven't had everybody just wearing complete red robes. Instead, some have got, well, they've all got sashes actually, and they've also got different colored clothes, but there is some red in there. I think that it does work to symbolize that. I did decide to not put a banner in or a command in with these units. I think that that's perfectly fine. They do the job, and I wanted to show the massed rank of these weapons that are completely new in this period and really are going to be a shock and awe, and I wanted to feature them, and I thought that the banner or a commander could get in the way of that, so decided to not go with them. One thing to note here is, as well, I have had these sat on my desk for a little while, and I am using the Sunlu Tough resin. I am really happy with it. It does have a good bit of bend and a good bit of flex with it. You see, even when it's painted, that's still thingy, like going completely fine. However, it's not indestructible. As you can see, I've got two here where the ends of the spears have snapped. So while it's not as bad as other resins, to be perfectly honest, I've had these on my desk for a good couple of weeks now, and I do think that if I'd been using some of my older resins, I'd have had at least 3 or 4 more breakages of these spears, so I am really happy with it. But a little bit of feedback and an update on how that resin's going. You're going to want to still be, exercise reasonable caution. I will probably have to print off an extra couple of these guys, snip off the spears, and then re-glue them back on, because they have been lost to the carpet monster, I'm afraid. And then helping to round out this division and make this up to my 5th division, I believe, I have got a new commander. Nothing too out of the ordinary there, just guy on a base going for an infantry one with banner. Looks really nice. And then another thing that the Song are classically known for is their artillery, and so that's what we've got here, just an artillery guy on a base. This counts as a light artillery for Hail Caesar, or at least that's what I'm counting it as. It is a triple crossbow, basically a ballista. Absolutely terrifying thing, and very scary to go up against on the battlefield, chucking these massive bolts. I'm really happy with how it's came out. So this takes me, like I say, up to 5 divisions, I believe it is now, for the Song. and so that army's coming really well. I've actually played against it. I did run a game for me and one of my friends where I played the Mongols and he played the Song. He said he really liked them. We did have to develop some special rules for the Fire Lancers. Namely, it was that they get, I believe it was in the first round of combat, they basically get an ability to stand and shoot as they're being charged, and any hit can cause a disorder check or panic check, whatever it's called in Hail Caesar. Basically, people are not expecting that suddenly be fire on the battlefield, and it does cause a little bit of shock, particularly when you've got cavalry that's charging them. Horses really don't know how to deal with it. So that's kind of how we represented that, and really happy with that. I think that the rule works really well. They are a powerful unit, but they are also light, and that is a one-trick pony. In later decades, they do get the ability to reload, so we may, if we're playing for a later era, we may have that as any time they're charged. But yeah, once they're charged and they're in combat, they are light troops, and they do tend to fall quite easily after the fact. So I've got a lot of videos coming out, and one bit of information is that why I decided to do this and get everything in one video, get caught up with where I've been at for the last, to be honest, couple of months actually. These projects have all been getting worked on. The reason is that I'm now in the position to actually start doing some battle reports, and so I wanted to clear some time in my schedule to be able to do those. They will be getting filmed this week. I'm really looking forward to giving that a first try. So again, if you want to see those, do be sure to support the channel. Let me know what armies you'd maybe like to see fight a battle report down in the comments below. But until then, I've been Brett. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.